Landsat satellites. So first off, remote sensing. Remote sensing is the process of gathering data about Earth using instruments mounted on satellites, airplanes, or ships. So the whole idea is you're collecting data from a distance. So you have a satellite in orbit collecting information about the oceans or the surface you have, or the land. You have airplanes flying over, taking aerial pictures and that sort of thing. Or you have ships that are using sonar to get images of what the ocean floor looks like. So that's remote sensing. The Landsat satellites record reflected wavelengths of energy from Earth's surface. So very similar to like taking a digital picture. Digital picture is basically recording reflected visible light from something. The Landsat satellites kind of do the same thing, except they're using visible and infrared wavelengths of electromagnetic radiation. Electromagnetic radiation is a fancy word for light. But with this, features on Earth's surface radiate warmth at slightly different frequencies, and then by analyzing those frequencies, you can tell what those features are. So a forest, for example, would look different from a desert, and a desert would look different from a pasture field, etc. So you can use the wavelengths that are reflected and kind of analyze and figure out what's actually there. Now, when they do that, they actually go out and do something called ground truthing. So they'll take an image, they'll look at it and think, okay, that's a forest, and then they'll send somebody out there to that location to see if it's actually a forest or not. So obtaining Landsat images. So each Landsat satellite is equipped with a moving mirror that scans Earth's surface. It scans it by moving back and forth. So the satellite will fly a path over the Earth's surface in orbit. And as it's flying that path, the mirror kind of oscillates back and forth and picks up information from strips of land on the ground. The light is reflected to a series of sensors that detect energy intensity, just like a digital camera. And then information is converted into digital signals that show landforms in great detail, and divided up into many, many bands of different wavelengths of light. So it's not like a digital picture in the sense that a digital picture is one image. This does an image for a bunch of different wavelengths of light. So there'd be a different image for, say, red versus blue versus green versus purple versus ultraviolet versus infrared, etc. So there'd be a bunch of different images. This is used to study natural disasters, pollution, movement of tectonic plates, and melting of glaciers and ice caps. So for example, this is Landsat images of New Orleans before and after Hurricane Katrina. So Hurricane Katrina before, which this happened in 2005, basically you see there's a lot of area that's not flooded here. And then after Hurricane Katrina, you notice all these areas that are now blue where the water has actually come through the levees and actually flooded a lot of these areas.